Hello, join me to make the first traditional granny square. This is the first of about 60 series where I will be showing you guys how to make granny squares, which you can use in any projects like jackets or blouses or bags or anything of you choosing. I'm using for the first square, I'm using this 100% acrylic big twist. Color is Varsity Yellow, and it's a, let's see here, it shows you the amount and the weight of the yarn, and it's a 4 medium. I'm not sure what this one means, and I'm also using a size 5 mm, and I have a scissors. Alright, first things first is you want to create a slip knot, and you can do this however way you choose, but this is usually what I would do. I would just insert my crochet needle like so, and pull through to make that knot. Or I will make a loop like so, and I can just use my finger to make a slip knot. Either way, I wouldn't be leaving a lot of yarn on this end, but we can always work this yarn into our work once we get started. So I want to be working with the longer side of the yarn. That's my working yarn, and first we chain 4. Now that I have 4, I will go ahead and slip stitch into the first chain to form a ring. At first you won't see the ring right away, but so once I slip stitch, going to pull this up just to show you where the ring is. It's right here. So that's where the ring is, right in the middle, and that's where we're going to be working into. And now I have my slip stitch here to form my ring, and then I will chain 3. And this will count as a double crochet throughout because it forms the perfect length of a double crochet. So the next thing we want to do is to insert 2 double crochet into the ring. And what I do here is I want to make sure I am covering up or working on this loose yarn over here to hide it at the end. So we're double crochet, which is to yarn over, insert into the ring, and pull the yarn in, yarn over, and pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And now I have 3 chains in my ring. Now I want to chain 2 to form a corner, and then I'm going to go again into the ring with 3 double crochet. So yarn over, push through into the ring, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And you do that 2 more times. And usually you don't need to super stress out about like making mistakes or getting caught. it takes a lot of patience with crocheting, so you want to make sure you take your time with it and don't really bother or sweat about, just starting and it's getting confusing, or you're getting stressed out about not getting it right. You can always pause the video, slow it down, slow the speed down, and you just have to keep trying. But I will try to go as slowly as I can to make this easy, especially for beginners. So the next thing we want to do is to chain 2, because we're about to make another corner, our second corner. So we chain 2, and then we put in 3 double crochets again. 1, 2, 3. Then we want to chain 2 again. And then we'll do the last chain, cluster chain. We call it a cluster chain all together. So we're going to do the last double crochet, cluster chain 3 of those. Okay. Again, a double crochet, yarn over, insert into the ring, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And for the last one, do the same, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And for the last corner, you chain 2, and you see it's already starting to form. So at the end here, we still have this left out because I left out a bunch, but usually you can make it shorter and just hide it as you go. You can always hide it as you go. But I also needed to be able to pull if I wanted to, pull and close the ring some more. But we can always use a smaller crochet needle or a regular needle to work into the others to kind of like hide it completely. So to close the square, we want to slip stitch in the top of the beginning join 3. So here we have 1, 2, and 3. So this is where we want to insert our crochet needle, and we want to slip stitch here. And there we have our 4 corners. And so this is the part where you might want to add another color, or if you want to keep going, you can, but you might want to add another color here. But at the end of this, you should have 12 double crochet and 4 chain 2 spaces. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So the second round, round 2, usually I would have pulled the new, if it was a different yarn, I would have pulled through at this point to slip stitch. But we're only using one color, so the next thing we want to do is to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And you want to, this is where I would say to turn your work. You have a granny square because you would have a wrong side and the right side. Turning your work might cause you to have like, you have a wrong side and the right side, wrong side. So in this space is where I want to start my next round. So what I would do is I would start my double crochet into the space right here and chain 2 to make 2 double crochet to make my first cluster. There. Because flipping my work over might cause the wrong side to show on one round and then the right side to show on another round. So I'm going to chain 1, and then chain, and I'm going to add another cluster, which is 3 double crochets. And I'm going to chain 2, and into that very space I'm going to add in another cluster, 3 double crochet clusters. We're adding this as an increase. There. And then we want to chain 1, and then 3 double crochet, and a cluster, chain 2 in our corner, and another cluster. And chain 1 again, another 3 double crochet cluster, 1, 2, 3, chain 2, and adding another 3 double crochet, and then we're almost at the end of the second round. Now let's repeat the same, chain 1, and this would be our last cluster for round 2. 1, 2, and 3, and chain 2. And just like we did in the first round, we want to find the chain at the beginning. That's the stitch at the beginning of the chain 3, which is right here, and slip stitch into this. And that's our square. We've made a square, and I'll show you another increase, which is going to be round 3. You can also stop here to add your new color, or you can keep going. Chain 3, and insert 2 double crochet to complete that cluster. I would chain 1 and adding a cluster in the middle, chain one here, chain one space here. So 1, 2, 3. And you chain one, and then in the corner right here, and you chain, insert in a cluster, chain 2 in the corner, forward corner, and insert into that space another cluster. So chain 1 again and insert another cluster of double crochet as you yarn over, insert yarn, pull through and yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 1, yarn over, you're at the let's see, you're at the third corner. I'm going to do 2 clusters here. So the first cluster, I'm going to do 3 double crochets, chain 2, and insert another 3 double crochets into that same space. Chain 1 and then insert a cluster into this middle space here, chain 1 space here, chain 1, and then you're at your fourth corner. Insert 2 clusters. Don't forget to add 2 chains to make that corner, and then we add another cluster. Now when you're busy with your working yarn, you want to make sure you have enough to work with, because wherever you're pulling your yarn from, you might get stuck. Mine, for example, I have like a ball of yarn where I start like in the middle, and I pull from here instead of from the outside. I pull from the inside. So when I'm working with my yarn, I have to constantly like pull the yarn in a way that I have to unravel the working yarn in my hand. So you have to already pull in abundance. But you also want to make sure you're not distracted, because then you have to wind it back into a ball so it doesn't get all knotted. So we're back to our double crochet cluster. We made 3 there, and now we're chain 1 and then another cluster into the space right here. Right, and then we chain 1, and then into the very first corner we insert another cluster, and we chain 2, and again we slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 stitch. Chain 3 chain, and that completes our square. And we can keep going on and on. This is a 3-round granny square that I've just made with you guys. The very traditional granny square. You can keep going around and around and around and around, and you can get as big as whatever your project is. Usually if I wanted to make like a regular shirt or a blouse, and depending on how many squares I want on the blouse, I might have to make quite a lot, but the bigger the square, the less amount I have to make. So with this is still a very tiny square. I couldn't really do anything with this one. We can keep going, and I will show what a standard square for a blouse would look like in my upcoming videos. But thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for watching this with me and encouraging me to keep going. And I'll see you guys in the next video.